guys, how y'all doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I am here live for my live review of Smackdown. And of course, it's the second stream I did tonight. I just did my AEW Double or Nothing predictions. And then, of course, I was supposed to start this probably about a half hour ago. But then I actually took my shower first because, trust me, if I did not, I would have been falling asleep during this stream because I was tired. I needed something to give me a little bit of a second wind to, be able to come up here and do a quality stream for you guys. I'm not pushing things back further because, again, I have other things I want to get done this weekend. Mainly something that has nothing to do with YouTube that I want to do for people, my friends and my cousins. I do a virtual trivia night, and basically I gotta get that set up for this week. That's why I was trying to, not fall too behind my streams and whatnot. But of course, I shouldn't be this tired this late, anymore, because again, when I go back, because Tuesday, I go back to my normal shift at work, so I don't want that to get up quite as early as I have been this month. So, with that being said, let's talk about SmackDown tonight. SmackDown, the May 22nd, 2020 edition of SmackDown, I gotta say, it was not too bad. I actually liked a decent amount of this show. I will say, though, there was an announcement tonight, and of course, updated graphics for Backlash that definitely turned me off from that show quite a bit, I will say. Basically because of that tagline, which I will rant about that after I talk about what happened in the opening segment. That was literally a what the fuck moment to me. Because I am just like, you kidding me? You had the perfect story set up to move on to the next portion of this feud with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. And instead, you're doing some other piece of stupid shit on the pay-per-view that is something that just could have happened on SmackDown, and also is being even more dirty to a certain superstar that I'm already regretting that he came back to WWE this year. You know all who I'm talking about after saying that. But we also had some other surprising news tonight as well, which I will talk about that when we get there. So let's roll into the show. We opened up with Miz and Morrison. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Yeah. This was the first time I came out of a Miz and Morrison segment where I actually was not happy because of what happened. Miz and Morrison were out for an episode of The Dirt Sheet. They're mocking Otis, doing his fat jokes again, and then they complain about Braun Strowman. And then they start complaining about Bray Wyatt. They then started randomly introducing some sets of puppets that didn't make the cut for the Firefly Funhouse. A sock puppet named Shiloh, Dookie the Diaper Boy, and Mandykin Rose. First off, the Mandykin Rose was definitely to mock Mandy Rose, which was dumb. And then the other puppets were doing nothing but, fart and burp jokes, and it was that first segment I can say, wow, Miz and Morrison actually are not entertaining. Because they are, but this was kind of that, this segment killed me. This segment killed me, and what it led to killed me as well. And I am just like, are you kidding me? Like, Vince, how senile are you to put this crap on your TV to embarrass people even more? Because then, you want to top it all off, these guys who are out there talking about puppets and burps and farts and whatnot, out comes Braun Strowman. And he's laughing and smiling. That's kind of funny. Obviously, Vince told him to say that. Hates to admit it, but this show's not half as bad as he's happy to be their guest. Ask me a question. So, Strowman invites himself onto the show. He goes back and forth with Morrison, and then And then somehow it sets up to a match with Strowman and The Miz, where Strowman pretty much squashes The Miz. After the match, though, John Morrison got on the microphone. He was just like, he calls out Braun Strowman. And I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get a second match, one-on-one match with Strowman and Morrison. I would have much rather have had that than what we got. Morrison, out of the blue, mentions how Braun Strowman can win singles matches, yet he can't win handicap matches. So, why don't we have a match at Backlash for the Universal Championship? Miz and Morrison versus Braun Strowman in a handicap match for the Universal Championship. I'm repeating that one more time. At Backlash, we should have been getting Braun Strowman versus The Fiend, right? Right? That's what the story was telling us, right? The Fiend should be getting that Universal Championship back, right? Instead, they're extending this reign of Strowman longer, which again, I'll give Strowman credit. He's done, even though again, I still think, the whole idea of Strowman being a transitional champion is kind of worn off of me a little bit because they're actually giving him a longer reign than I expected. And, I was fine with what he did at Money in the Bank against Bray Wyatt. It was not The Fiend or not the story that they told in the match. But this should have continued to Strowman facing The Fiend. It should have. But we're getting a random-ass handicap match with Braun Strowman, Miz, and Morrison? Who wants to see that match? What's this match going to do? I know, it's going to make Miz and Morrison look like idiots, and it's going to play Morrison dirty even more. This guy should be having, attraction matches against, I'm talking about Morrison, against, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Jeff Hardy, Drew McIntyre, I already said Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, heck, I'll even take that. So many other superstars. Yeah, he's in a tag team with The Miz. That's good, except for this segment tonight. But you brought him back, you ruined his return, you had to job the Brock Lesnar in the Rumble, you gave him a run of the tag titles, okay. Now you're going to feed him and Miz to Strowman in a handicap match. And then to top it all off, they updated the graphics again for Backlash, and for both so far showing Strowman and Miz and Morrison and Randy Orton and Edge. They're literally putting in the graphics the greatest wrestling match ever. That's how they're hyping up Backlash. It's going to have the greatest wrestling match ever. Edge and Orton are set up to literally fail. They're literally has WWE realized what they've done? They had to literally put on the greatest match of all time between Edge and Randy Orton to save themselves this time. They dug their own grave. And this handicap match, you're continuing to play Braun Strowman dirty, have a handicap match because, oh my gosh, Braun Strowman lost that handicap match in the IC title months ago. Give me a... How stupid are you to write these stories? I saw that Deluxe Man, Alex, went live. I want to hear what he says after this, saying that, he's skipping Backlash now. And I don't blame him, because they're literally over-hyping this whole show around a match they're calling the greatest wrestling match of all time, and I still don't buy into the fact that Edge should be doubting that he can't wrestle. even though he's wrestled in the Rumble and could have easily pinned someone at some point if, the stipulation, and even the last man standing as well for 40 minutes, yet he can't wrestle a wrestling match. It's going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. It's one thing to actually say it on your show. It's another thing to promote and make it the tagline of the pay-per-view. Backlash 2020 is setting itself up to be the worst pay-per-view of the year. Let's put it that way. It's going to happen. I'm sorry. And because of that, I'm probably not going to get many views on my Backlash card. I don't blame people. I'm doing well with my Takeover in Your House one, which is going to be a much better show than Backlash, so whatever. We're getting Miz and Morrison versus Braun Strowman in a 2-on-1 handicap match for the Universal Championship because Braun Strowman can't handle handicap matches. He lost one. What an idiot. I can't believe this match. But then we had some interesting stuff. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship Tournament in the first round. The winner goes on to face Elias in the semifinals next week on SmackDown. Here's the kicker, though. Remember last week when I ranted about AJ getting a spot over Cesaro, but AJ's on Raw? And also, I didn't notice afterwards, but apparently WWE was asking the fans, who would you want to see in this tournament? And they were saying Cesaro. Oh no, we can't do that. But they kind of fixed it up. Because it was announced tonight on SmackDown, believe it or not, AJ Styles has been traded back to SmackDown. This is not a brand-to-brand invitation, which also apparently they mentioned the brand-to-brand invitation means a superstar can only be invited to the opposing brand 4 times in a year. Which here now, at first I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. They're limiting them to it. But my thing is WWE going to hold up to it? Because remember they said only 3 people and only 4 people could come over at a time for Raw, from the opposing brand during the wild card rule last year. Remember that? And it is stick to it. They like both rosters on both shows all the time. Overexposing superstars like they're doing with Charlotte. And so I still wonder how close is WWE going to stick to that rule. But anyways, AJ Styles apparently is officially back on SmackDown. He's come back to the house that AJ Styles built. Here's the thing, though. If they did want to do a brand-to-brand extension match involving AJ Styles, because to me, even if they do it on pay-per-view, I still want to see AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre. I want to see that. Like Seth Rollins and AJ Styles I got last year. This year, of course, now my big dream match is definitely AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre. And now that Styles is back on SmackDown, since Styles is a lot more seasoned since he was in 2016, he had 2 great matches against him. I honestly would want to see AJ Styles and Roman Reigns. I think that could be a good match. Again, they had 2 really good matches in 2016 at Payback and Extreme Rules. Now that AJ's a lot more seasoned, we'll see what they can do when Roman gets back. So AJ Styles is back on the house that AJ Styles built, SmackDown. I know a lot of people, especially Tyler, are going to say he should have never left. Kind of agree. I mean, kind of gave him a fresh coat of paint, but his run on Raw was not that great. So hopefully SmackDown gets him back. And I thought him and Shinsuke had a pretty good match. Of course, it's nowhere close to the match we've always wanted to see them have. They had how many matches in 2018 that were good, but weren't anything spectacular. But those are going to hit the level of New Japan Pro Wrestling when they had their best match. But I thought for just a live, weekly episode, I thought they put on a pretty good match. AJ does get the win, and he'll go on to face Elias, which obviously it seems to me AJ is probably going to get to the finals. Against who, though? We'll get to that shortly. But AJ Styles wins, and he's officially back on SmackDown. Backstage, we see Bayley getting ready for her match against Charlotte with Sasha Banks. But the champ asks Sasha to not be in her corner tonight because people think she can't win alone. So we have the match, Bayley and Charlotte. And also, I gotta mention also too, it was announced also that on Raw on Monday, we're going to be having a triple threat match for the number one contendership for Asuka's Raw Women's Championship. And it's going to be Nia Jax, which I expected, Charlotte Flair, again, why is she getting this opportunity? She's NXT Women's Champion, and what's she done to deserve another opportunity? We're going to put all three belts down on Charlotte Flair. And Natalya. Why is Natty getting this opportunity when she's lost the past couple weeks to Shayna Baszler? Even though she lost her match to Charlotte Flair, why not have, Liv Morgan in there? Obviously, Natty's in there for Asuka to pin her, to become the number one contender. Hopefully they don't give it to Charlotte instead. But, yeah, so that was weird. But, Bayley had the match with Charlotte. Decent match, I will say. And of course, she put her feet on the ropes. Bayley won the match. I'm surprised. Thank goodness she won the match. So she went to the royal pin with leverage on the ropes. And, Charlotte's like, okay, I got it. Bayley and Sasha celebrating the back. Then we had a mixed tag match with Sonya and Dolph and Mandy and Otis. Decent match. I still think as far as, Otis and Ziggler goes, I think those two should move on from each other. But Mandy and Sonya still, I think, have unfinished business, I feel. But they win whenever Sonya hits a running knee to the back of Mandy's head, and after the match, Ziggler lays out Otis, and the heels stand tall for that. So hopefully this feud doesn't drag on too much longer, though, as I say. I think, it's starting to get to the point where, okay, wrap this thing up, basically, between, these two mixed pairings. We had this segment backstage, also, with Jeff Hardy, talking about how all the positive vibrations he sent out have led to him to the Intercontinental Championship Tournament, a title near and dear to his heart because it's the first title he won on his own. And if he won it again, it brings things full circle. Basically saying how, he wants the fans to give him one last chance for one last run. Obviously mentioning that, he's on his last, legs in the WWE. Because his contract expires in September, so maybe he's still going to leave and go to AEW and join his brother Matt. We also again get a memorial graphic for Shad Gaspard. Forgotten Sons have a promo talking about how our blood is in our hands, and it's only fair for our blood to be on their hands. Miz and Morrison also bicker about the events of said opening segment when Renee Young says they lay out a number of points to explain why they're going to win at Backlash, and they're not. Then we have our main event, the long-awaited match with Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. The other match for the Intercontinental Championship Tournament, the winner would face Daniel Bryan next week. Gotta say it was a good match. I liked it. I wasn't sure I would at first. I thought the build to this match was kind of weird. Sheamus getting upset because they're talking about Jeff Hardy, ironically, after all of his matches. But I thought it was a pretty good physical match. Made both men look strong, I thought. Of course, my favorite part was whenever Corey Graves was hyping up, Sheamus, being in good shape. Sheamus gets in the ring, starts just running in place, going, best shape of my life, which is true. Sheamus has been saying a lot how apparently, since coming back in January, he has been the best shape he has been in quite a long time, which is good to hear. But it was a great match. As I expected, Jeff Hardy won, but he won by roll-up. So it seems like this feud with Jeff Hardy and Sheamus is not over. But Jeff Hardy's going on to face Daniel Bryan next week, and AJ Styles face off Elias. And you know what? I know my carbage. I kept saying I want Daniel Bryan to go away and win the Intercontinental title, but honestly, let's see AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy. Have we seen that match in WWE yet? I didn't think we had. So I want to see it. That's the match that I think we should get at Backlash for the finals for Intercontinental Championship. Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles. We've already seen AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. They've done good matches, except for that one at Royal Rumble in 2019, but they still have had great matches. Let's see Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles. And let's see where we go from there. And with that being said, guys, that's going to do it. Again, despite that opening segment, and the announcement for Backlash and then the overhype, I actually thought SmackDown was solid. decent to solid. Gave it a B minus. Tyler, of course, is glad that AJ's back on SmackDown, and it should be AJ and Jeff for the title backlash for Intercontinental Championship. Yes, I agree. That's what it should be. But guys, that's going to do it. My sleepy spell's starting to hit me again, guys. But that's my live view of SmackDown. I gave it a B minus. What are your thoughts on SmackDown this week? What are your thoughts on what's going on in the Intercontinental Championship Tournament? Do you hate the fact that, Backlash is being called, including the greatest wrestling show of all time? What are your thoughts also on AJ Styles being traded back to SmackDown? Please leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Be sure to always slap a like on the video, subscribe or comment on my channel, and follow me on Twitter at DemandAirborne93. And with that, guys, I'm checking out. I'll see you all later. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for my Double or Nothing review. Peace out, everybody.
No escape.